Cézanne abandons the portrait and begins work on a landscape. Quite soon he becomes distracted by the black and white tiles on the terrace, and in particular where they merge with the cobalt blue of the lake. Distinctions between surfaces had become blurred that summer. The tiles became the lake became both sky and mountain. The sky swept effortlessly off the edge of the canvas and into the world. Count Redondo is not pleased. He's no interest in walking or fishing and practices golf strokes with his rifle. The previous year he decided to invest in electricity, and now the mountainside is lit by the glow of 22,000 swinging light bulbs. As the sun sets, he begins to shoot at them in descending order, until he's forgotten about Cézanne and the missing portrait. By the end of the summer, he'd worked his way to the gatehouse. The painter had departed, leaving behind a half-finished landscape, which Redondo placed in a boat on the lake and fired at with cannons.
Shirley Buick, 1923 to 1974. I'm told she was a retired beautician. Spent the last 2 of the 4 weeks of our Gulf cruise looking for a contact lens she'd lost during her Keep Fit class. She never actually accused anyone of stealing it. Oh, but she irritated the pants of us all for days, until realizing the oblique nature of her fixation, we just left her to it. Came as a bit of a shock to learn that, as a logical extension of her search, she jumped overboard 40 miles west of Guadalajara. Her body was washed up and recovered to San Diego 3 weeks later, and I'm pleased to report that the autopsy mentions that a full set of contact lenses were worn by the deceased.
A Perfect Crime. Strasbourg, 1889. A jealous woman shoots her lover through the heart. The gun is made of alabaster, the bullet of hardened honey. On entering the heart, the bullet melts. The gun shatters into 1,000 pieces. On the night before my suicide attempt, I dreamed of the village sunk beneath the reservoir. I was in the bell, and I was proclaiming myself king, not only for my ability to turn all the door handles in the village into brass, but also to be able to straighten them into lances, to stab the unsuspecting thief. Every night of the preceding month, I'd swum into the absolute darkness of the lake in order to face the composite failures of my life. But they only increased in density until I knew that I would eventually sink. And so, on the final night, I lay upon the water, an entire valley beneath me, an empty sky above, and waited. And in those final moments, the real king of Buell Water came to me. He rose up folding the water behind him with ease, until his head emerged in front of me, a Goliath, his head as big as a shed, sculpted in slime and moonlight, sucking the gases of this world into nostrils the size of my head. For minutes we stared at each other, until, like Goya's Saturn, I thought he might pluck me out and eat me. Instead, he towered over me and plunged back into darkness, sending me shoreward on a massive wedge of water. And the truth came to me, as I rolled upon the bank, that he was myself, my ego, refusing to die in spite of myself, desperate to survive.
The egg-shaped man lived out on the moors around our croft. I saw him once, but he ran from me. He had a strange love of Mozart, and quite often I would stay awake to listen to his arias as they carried through the mist. I cannot listen to Mozart without thinking of the egg-shaped man. Although, when they found his body, it was more pear-shaped than egg-shaped.
Cleaning the mini fridge. She is lying on the bed in the spare room, listening to the distant whirring and clacking sounds coming from the Argos racetrack. Situated between their home and the beach cliffs, it is a patch of tarmac that the owners hire out to holidaymakers. Miniature electric cars buzz around throughout the day. There are no time limits, speed limits, signs, or track markings anywhere. Races may go on all day. Others choose to follow noodly and risky routes of endless near misses. It's the Argos stock and trade. It has always been like this, and everybody seems happy with it. Earlier that day, she had been absent-mindedly cleaning a small worktop fridge. It contained a carton of milk, 2 beers, and a mix of out-of-date vegetables. As she was turning it upside down to dislodge some carrots which had become stuck to the frost, she heard her daughter say, "I will be gone from here, I suppose." But not soon. She does not know how long she hugged the mini fridge, only that she has ended up here on the bed, in the spare room, listening to the cars pursuing their endless circuits.
A mighty thing unhinged. The angel that resurrected Jesus was not the same as the ones witnessed the following day. This one was dark and elemental, and it turned the inside of the tomb into a furnace. Within this furnace, Jesus recognized his God, and also all the sepirophs of the past. And as the angel unfurled its wings to leave, he perceived to its extremity the terrifying beauty of a mighty thing unhinged, the future.
Tonbridge, Kent, 1532. The Battle of 6 Bridges took place in the long flat valley that stretches east to west below the bluff of Bidborough. This noodle of roads and bridges across the Medway and her tributaries afforded local landowners ample license to enforce lucrative tolls, and this arrangement suited all apart from the unfortunate traveller that was regularly fleeced on his way towards Tonbridge until the year 1532. King Henry VIII, hungry yet again for his war chest, sent agents and robbers to set the families against each other, and this resulted in a growing distrust between them, culminating in the Battle of 6 Bridges, a needless slaughter which wiped out half the family's heirs and brought their entire estates, including the 6 toll bridges, under the control of the crown. The bridges were removed and the roads rebuilt in a straight line, with just one toll remaining at Hayes Den now, near the A21 towards Sevenoaks. The blocks of stone and other materials were used to dam and channel the waters eastwards to Maidstone, as well as to build public houses and stables along the valley, including the Plough at Lye.
The Oval God. The lunatic sat in the pub all day and ate every flavor of crisps. Then he tried to take the green ball home. A fight broke out. He escaped out of the door and was chased down the lanes towards the seafront. He cried on the beach and fell asleep and was visited by the oval god which comforted him. The oval god has always protected that which is inert or unformed and is also the god of garlic and distance.
A Birthday Surprise. 2,000 miles homeward from the moon, Jürgen Voller, the astronaut, almost choked to death on his bar of compressed chicken. When he recovered, the regurgitated food was analysed by the crew, who were relieved to find no trace of bacteria. They did, however, discover a small piece of paper which had been folded into a tiny square and which contained this note. Dear Sirs, could you please say a happy birthday to my son Norris Hare, who will be 44 years old on Tuesday, from his loving mother, Sheila. P.S. Could you arrange to say it from the moon or a spacewalk? Mrs. Hare, a food packer from Miami, was instantly fired, arrested, released, blessed by the Pope, and quickly became a household name across the world.
Mrs. Shropshire's Book of Gossip. This book was found amongst the possessions of a Mrs. Shropshire of Deaton, North Yorkshire, on the clearance of her house after her demise. It is an ironic title, considering to our knowledge, none of these tales were ever spread in her parish. Presumably she collated them in the hope that one day she might be at leisure to divulge them, many of which are mundane, such as the exact location of the after 8 mints in the household of the local vicar, his bedside cabinet. Not so mundane on reflection. And many of which are quite fantastical, such as the notion that her neighbours, the Sri Rashwanis at number 32, were selling medical data stolen from a regional hospital via the ice cream van that visited the village twice a week in the summer months. In her notes, she states that on the days these crimes occurred, the van's arrival would be preceded by the playing of French impressionist music, rather than the usual deafening chimes of just one cornetto. According to Mrs. Shropshire, the data was sold in batches in exchange for free 99 and packets of cash sandwiched between wafers. The documents were then stashed inside a large plastic cone at the front of the van and presumably later passed on to interested parties.